When I get ready in the mornings, I'm doing my hair, and I will look often behind me because it does feel like someone is coming in. And
I agree with that.
You agree with that?
I blow dry my hair like upside down a lot, and I'll look up a lot.
And just feel
like someone's there.
Someone's right there.
And when I'm here, it's I don't know how to explain. It just seems like a solid black. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like I know when the lights are off. Yes, and I know when the lights are off, but it's just solid black. Okay. If that makes sense.
And what, you felt something in this hallway, you said?
Yeah, like right here. I was like walking like right here, and it was like 5 in the morning, so I was taking a shower, and I like went like this, and it didn't move or like disappear or get hazy. So I just walked through it, and I was half asleep, and like it just scared me.
Alright, this is Brian and Matt. We are at the Rivoli Theater, and we're about to do our base readings, and we're doing it with the lights on because I want to see if the lights have actually any play with, you want to make sure that the lights here are also not interfering with the high EMF field, because if they have lights on and it's generating a high EMF field, that could be an explanation why they have some of the ominous feelings that they have throughout the theater. So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to go walk from the front all the way to the back.
Right now, before we even started walking around, I'm getting a 0.5.6.
Alright, let me document that.
Normal breathing?
Shh. Did you hear that?
No.
I heard like a breath. No joke. What I heard, and this is just me mocking what I heard.
Well, maybe we got it on we can listen to the
I hope
sound
so.
on the camera, yeah.
I'm Mike Diamond. I just actually started the website Paranormal Warehouse. It's basically a social networking site for people interested or into the paranormal field. I guess my interest in the paranormal started when I was younger. My father passed away, and I guess just because of that, like, you're naturally interested in what happens after death, and you're kind of on that mindset.
like who you are, what you did there, and tell us about what you experienced.
I'm Rich Kenny. I was in the Coast Guard from 1970 to 1974, and in 1973 I was stationed on Plum Island Lighthouse, and I went there because another guy wanted to get off. He was scared to death of the island, couldn't wait to get off. So when I got there, he was so happy to see me, he almost shook my arm off, thanking me. And I didn't understand why. When he was leaving, I asked him, what was the rush? And he said, just ask them about the colonel. So I thought that was weird. There aren't any colonels in the Coast Guard. So I went up to the lighthouse and I talked to the guy in charge, Frank. And I said, who's this colonel? And he ignored me, told the other guy, just show him around the lighthouse.
Right.
So I asked the other guy about the colonel, what's going on? He says, well, Frank won't talk about it because he would spend time on the lighthouse when he was there by himself. One night he was in the lighthouse and he heard the tower door swing open, and there's an alarm bell that the corner of the door just happened to hit. It was poor placement, it just happened to be there. So when you heard that ding, you knew the tower door was open. And he said he heard footsteps coming down the hallway, got to his door, and because he had heard stories, he kept a chair under his door, but he said the doorknob was turning back and forth. So he got up out of bed, went over to the door, opened it up, and there was no one out there.
Hi, my name is Rachel, and this is Simon, Karen and Russell. And we're 4 members of the Australian Paranormal Investigators.
API, as a team, have been together for a few years now. We are primarily based in Brisbane, although we have members in New South Wales and South Australia. This allows us to be able to investigate further afield and not just within our locality. Coming from varying backgrounds and nationalities, we are able to combine our experiences and theories, which I think makes us a well-rounded team.
API's approach primarily is logical based.
Our job's to prove or disprove that there is a paranormal activity going on.
So let's talk about the investigation that you're going to have in this documentary. It was a home investigation. I was asked by a friend to come in and help her because her 2 teenage daughters were very scared. Tani didn't get to go on this one, but Allie and I went, and we ended up cleansing the home because she asked us to. They didn't feel comfortable. So not only did we want to document, we felt comfortable that, and you did, we knew once we got in there that you could handle cleansing and we could see what's happening. So there was no activity after that, so obviously it worked. Now, if it didn't work, then we would go to another step and try to find somebody that could help them. So this was a one in particular time that we did take the case because it was a friend. And I want to talk a little bit about that. When Allie and I went in there, they basically thought that it was their relatives. And Allie, because she can sense and hear things, you didn't feel that it was the grandmother or...
No, not at all.
Yeah.
No, I felt like a grandfatherly presence in the bathroom. There's definitely a portal in there upstairs. But what was coming out of that one closet was not benevolent and was not related at all.
And we don't know if the girls opened up a door with the Ouija board. If you watch the footage, hopefully it's in the documentary, that the girls messed with the Ouija board and it was put in 2 of the closets. And that's where they were having most of their problems, was in the closets.
Yes.
The Ouija board has been thrown out, and we just want to stress to these teenagers and anybody, Ouija boards aren't a good idea. Just find something else to do that can...
You don't know what you're doing.
Right. I mean, if you can't close the door and you let something in,
can get tricky even
what are you
as
going to do?
Professionals.
Exactly.
I mean, even people that do it all the time, it can get tricky real fast.
Exactly.
Oheka Castle was built between 1914 and 1919 by a wealthy bank investor, Otto Hermann Kahn. It holds 127 rooms and has over 110,000 square feet. At one time, it had over 400 acres of land. It was primarily used as Otto Kahn's summer home. He originally had a summer home in New Jersey. Otto Kahn came over from Germany, and due to his nationality, many of his competitors disliked him. There was much speculation that his competitors were accused of burning down his summer home. After the tragic fire to Otto's summer home in New Jersey, he vowed to his enemies that the next home he was going to build would be indestructible and fireproof. At this point, Oheka Castle was born in Huntington, New York. Otto intently built the castle on one of the highest points of Long Island so he could look down and laugh at his enemies. It was made mostly out of brick, stone, and granite. This was also during the time of Long Island's Gilded Age and Prohibition. What we do know is that many of Long Island's Gold Coast mansions held wild parties during the Roaring Twenties. The parties at Otto Kahn's estate got so wild that they received their own nickname, the Otto Zoo. The mansion became so popular that Otto had become friends with many celebrities and movie stars such as Charlie Chaplin. Today, the name Oheka was given by its current owner, Gary Milius, as an acronym to Otto Herman Kahn. Oheka Castle is now used for a wedding venue, special events, and a hotel for the upper class. Paranormal investigator Matthew J. Haas was the first to be invited to investigate Oheka Castle back in 2006 for its strange happenings. It was explained that security guards quit and never returned because of the experiences they had on their rounds. In room 400, it is said that guests have complained about being tucked in bed knowing they were by themselves. The staff has encountered apparitions in the center courtyard as well as throughout the rest of the castle. The team has been investigating and researching the many mysteries and secrets behind the walls for almost 8 years.
How did you die?
They did that before.
What?
I feel like I saw something.
Yeah.
Got interested in investigating the paranormal after the first time I was physically touched by a spirit. It happened in 2006 in Calico, which is a mining town in California. There's a building there called the Lucy Lane House. It was built in the 1800s and it was occupied by a woman named Lucy Lane until she died in 1967. So my husband and I were in the building. We were the only ones in there and just walking around looking at old furniture and stuff. And I suddenly felt something on the top of my head. It felt like a moth had just flown over the top of my head and just brushed against it. We looked around, there's nothing there. Absolutely nothing was in the store. No other people, no fans blowing wind, nothing. So.
Okay, we just met with the clients, and Allison, our new team member here, is a partial psychic and medium. What's your take on what's happened so far?
Well, so far walking into this place, going into the upstairs bedrooms, especially the mother's room, her name is Mo, or Monica. Very cold in there. I did not like the feeling at all in that room. It also felt like the bathroom definitely was a portal, and that's where the spirits are coming in and out of. They use it to travel at times. I physically got touched on the back of the neck and the left hand wrist several times. I was standing upstairs in the mother's bedroom. Afterwards, we came downstairs and stood in the kitchen before the ladies left. And I could hear, it sounded like people walking upstairs, right above us, kind of towards the back bedroom. Over here, I'm not sure which child that was again.
The back bedroom was Marley's.
Was that Marley's? Okay, I could hear footsteps up there. And I think you heard it too. Because we were looking at each other. So already I'm kind of lighting up. I think they are around, is my take on it. I think they're kind of curious. So they actually might do some things for us tonight to let us know that they're here.
Sounds good. All right.
Legend goes that during the Battle of Springfield, that Mrs. Hannah Caldwell was killed at her house by British soldiers. And later that night, when the British were retreating back to New York, go off and decided to raid the house of the rebel governor of New Jersey, William Livingston. And the legend goes that as they broke in the front door, Mrs. Livingston and her daughters fled to the second floor. And as they were coming up the stairs, the soldiers, the top of the stairs, illuminated by light, was the ghost of Mrs. Caldwell, who they thought they had killed earlier that day.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, we got the EVP of Caldwell.
Sure.
Like, puts credence to that.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you can't get any better than
Nope.
that.
Is there anyone here from the Livingston family?
Please, definitely. What was that?
Is there a clock in here? Is there anyone here from the Livingston family?
Please, definitely. What was that?
Is there a clock in here?
Just because we're logical based doesn't mean to say that we don't give the clients the full support that they require. At the end of the day, it's all about making sense. No one needs to be running in blessing places or trying to cleanse just because someone thinks that that's what needs to happen. That's what you see on telly sometimes. It's not what happens. Not with us. We go in, apply a lot of logic first, sit down with the client, get a bit of understanding, and then we take it from there and see what's required.
And what do you expect to get from being a paranormal investigator?
Ideally, I'd get an apparition on film or on a camera.
So, Sai, what brought you to be an investigator?
That's a good question, isn't it? Trying to find out more about it.
Curiosity mainly, a few experiences I've had in the past, just wanting to know whether it's real or... I'm a very big skeptic, so it's more proof to me.
And I guess it's nature of the business, isn't it? The more that you do experience, the more that you then look for.
It doesn't matter what you see and how many times you see it, your mind still tries to say to you it's not real. You're always in search of something that doesn't give you that logical explanation.
It's been such a great learning curve for me ever since we started.